Hello everyone, this is Alka Punia. I'm your host for this presentation and I'm gonna talk about Albert Bandura's social learning theory and its impact on mental health. So let's get started. So, who was Albert Bandura? He was one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th and 21st centuries. His work helped bridge the gap between behaviorism and cognitive psychology by introducing the concept of social learning, where individuals learn not only through direct experience but by observing others. His contributions, especially self efficacy and reciprocal determinism, have deeply influenced education, therapy, and developmental psychology. His innovation approach helped expand the understanding of human agency, emphasizing that individuals are not merely shaped by their environment but actively shape their own experiences. So, friends, this presentation explore his background, the core of his theory, its cultural and ethical dimensions, and its personal relevance. His ideas remain foundational in modern psychology, especially in areas CBT, education, and behavioral interventions. Let's move on to next slide. Let's explore his background. Albert Bandura was born in 1925 in Mandare, Alberta, a small town in Canada with limited educational resources. His rural upbringing led him to become a self-motivated learner, which became a hallmark of his psychological theories, emphasizing human agency and self-direction. He earned his Bachelor of Arts from the University of British Columbia, where he became interested in psychology almost by chance. He later pursued his PhD at the University of Iowa, a hub for behaviorist research. He was introduced to rigorous experiment methods here, but soon began challenging those behaviorism's limitations by incorporating cognitive elements, thus laying the groundwork for social learning theory. His academic journey reflects his belief in the power of intentional learning and personal development. Bandura's personal background greatly influenced his theoretical orientation. If we see that, growing up in an immigrant family with modest means, he learned early on the importance of perseverance, resilience, and self determination. These formative experiences planted the seeds for his later emphasis on self efficacy, the belief in one's capabilities to influence events and outcomes. So, the challenges he faced made him especially attuned to how motivation and environmental factors shape personality development. His interest in understanding how people overcome adversity informed his views that humans are active agents capable of change regardless of their circumstances. His life story mirrors his theory's emphasis on the interplay of personal, behavioral, and environmental factors. So let's talk about the social learning theory Bandura introduced. This theory is a psychological theory of social behavior that sorry that explains how people acquire new behavior, attitudes, and emotional reactions through observing and imitating others. It proposes that people learn new behavior, attitudes, and emotional reactions by observing, imitating, and modeling others within a social context, which emphasizes that learning is a cognitive process that occurs through observation rather than solely through direct reinforcement or punishment. So we can see here this famous Bobo doll experiment was a study by Albert Bandura in the 1960s that demonstrated observational learning, showing that children learn aggressive behavior by observing adult models. In the experiment, children watch adult act aggressively toward an inflatable doll, and a significant number of these children later imitated the aggressive actions and verbalizations of the models when they were left alone with the doll, even developing new ways to attack it. The experiment is a cornerstone of social learning theory and has had a lasting impact on discussions about media violence and its effect on children. So, this social learning theory, short for SLT, introduced the concept of reciprocal determinism, where behavior, personal factors, and the environment all influence each other dynamically. This theory underscores the social context of learning and emphasizes that people are not passive recipients of experience but active learners. He showed that role models, especially in media and real life, have a profound influence on behavior formation, both positive and negative. So, unlike behaviorists who focused solely on observable actions, he argued that cognitive processes such as self reflection, planning, and self regulation are central to human functioning. So, the Bandura triangle here shows how human behavior is influenced by and influences three interdependent factors. These are personal factors, environmental factors, and behavior itself. So, this model, as part of his social cognitive theory, depicts these three factors of a triangle with bidirectional arrows connecting each point to illustrate their continuous and mutual interactions. Let's discuss which we will discuss in the next slide. So, this understanding and learning of behaviorism to cognition led to the evolution of the social cognitive theory, which emphasized and combined the internal processes along with external influences. So, when we see these three components of the Bandura triangle, we can see these personal or cognitive factors can include an individual's internal characteristics and mental processes, such as beliefs, expectations, and attitudes, cognitive abilities and their skills, personality traits, and self efficacy once believe in their ability to succeed in a task. And the second one, environmental factors, we can refer to the external social and physical world surrounding a person, including their physical settings, social influences such as other people and social interactions, and the reward and punishment received from the environment. And the lastly, behavioral factors, which is a person's observable actions and responses. So, central to social cognitive theory, SCT, is the concept of self efficacy, which affect how people think, feel, and act. So, individuals with high self efficacy are more likely to take initiative, persist through challenges, and recover from setbacks. His work showed that beliefs about one's capabilities can be more important than actual skills in determining success. And this move from behaviorism to cognition marked a shift toward understanding motivational and emotional aspects of behavior. So let's talk about the impact on mental health. So Bandura's theories are foundational to cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most effective treatments for mental health disorders. His focus on self efficacy explains how people can change maladaptive thoughts and behaviors by developing coping skills and confidence. So, social learning theory and social cognitive theory are applied in treating phobias, addictions, angers issues, and other behavior conditions. Therapists use modeling and gradually exposure techniques to help clients observe and replicate positive behavior and enhancing their belief in their ability to change. Bandura emphasized that behavior change comes not just from external rewards but from internal mastery and agency. His theories empower clients to feel more in control of their thoughts and lives, improving their health outcomes significantly. So, Bandura's theories are remarkably adaptable across the cultures in the world. The emphasis on learning through social observation means the theory naturally incorporates media, social norms, and peer influences, which vary by culture. You know, so, if we see here in collective societies, the concept of collective efficacy, group confidence in achieving shared goals is more emphasized than individual self efficacy. Still, both are rooted in Bandura's social cognitive theory, and we can see showing its flexibility across cultural lines. He later acknowledged the importance of cultural and contextual differences in the application of his theories. So this adaptability make the SLT, social learning theory, and SCT, social cognitive theory, useful in global psychological practices, allowing mental health professionals to tailor the interventions that respect cultural identity and values. So now let's explore the theoretical biases. Initially, Bandura's work was shaped by Western individualistic values, focusing heavily on personal agency and individual behavior change. Early models lacked the attention to emotions, motivations, and non Western cultural perspectives. So, critics argued that this narrowed the theory's relevance to the diverse populations. However, Bandura responded to such critics by expanding the theory to include collective agency and more cognitive and motivational dimensions. Later, his research addressed those biases by incorporating cultural variables and emotional regulations, broadening the theory's scope and application. You know, so let's see the ethical considerations about this theory Bandura has provided. So the famous Bobodol experiment, though groundbreaking, raised early ethical concerns, particularly around exposing children to aggressive behavior without their consent. So while the study advanced knowledge, it prompted debates about informed consent and the psychological impact of observational learning of violence. In modern practice, we can see the ethical use of social learning theory involves selecting appropriate role models, ensuring the client consent, and monitoring media exposure, especially in children. So, the therapists and educators are encouraged to apply those social learning theory principles responsibly, being mindful of their cultural norms of the people and their individual sensitivities. Ethical applications now prioritize well being, respect, and autonomy, aligning closely with the human agency that Bandura championed throughout his career. So let's see why I chose this particular theory with Albert Bandura concepts. I chose Albert Bandura as the subject of this presentation because his theories deeply resonate with my personal belief in experience driven growth and natural development. He emphasized on agency, self efficacy, and intentional behavior, which aligns with how I view a human potential. His work supports the idea that individuals can overcome obstacles through positive learning experiences and self belief. His balanced perspective, integrating behavior, cognition, and social influence, providing a realistic, holistic framework for understanding and supporting personal development. His ideas offer a powerful message. No matter one's background, the ability to learn, adapt, and grow remains within reach through agency and resilience. That's why I like this particular theory. And lastly, let's see employment application and final takeaway about the Bandura's theories. They are highly applicable in therapeutic, counseling, and educational settings if we see these theories application. So, in mental health counseling, Techniques like modeling, goal setting, and self efficacy building are rooted in social cognitive theory. In education, his work informs mentorship, student motivation, and classroom behavior management. So, the focus on shaping behavior through skill building and reinforcement is valuable in both clinical and non clinical settings. Applying his concepts help boost client confidence, enhance their coping strategies, and promote their culturally sensitive interventions. So, whether in therapy room or training program, his work support the growth of capable, adaptive, and resilient individuals. So that's all I covered for Albert Bandura's theories, and I hope you have taken um, good knowledge about this particular theory and can apply or use in your future counseling sessions. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation. And lastly, if you have any questions, I have provided my email address in the last slide, where you can reach me for more questions. And I have provided references about the topics I covered in here to get more knowledge and details about those slide sections. Hopefully, to all the best for your day, and thank you so much for getting time and watch my presentation. I really appreciate your time.